this lesson, we're going to look at the ways in which a user can control their own workspace and environment by turning on or off options and even changing tabs in their personal workspace. I'm using the system as the demo user, Susan May. So Susan May is a sales user. She's the manager of the North American sales team of all of the demo company information. So this is Panoply technology, and it's all within the demo data within the system. Now, Susan is anxious to be able to concentrate on her work and focus on only those things that are important to her targets, and there are menu options that are more relevant to her than others. And for example, the lead tab would normally display leads to assign to this user, but Susan does not work directly with unqualified leads, and I'm going to show you in a moment how an individual user can hide tabs from the interface that they don't use. And in the screens that she does use all the time, she's now so familiar, she wants to be able to turn off the coaching captions and perhaps even change the usage of pipelines within the system. And back within the context of the dashboard, a user like Susan May wants to be able to choose the most appropriate dashboard for her work. And each of the main menus here has an option called Configure. Now, another way of getting into the configure options for a menu, and this works for any of the menus that we see, is to click the little ellipsis symbol, those three little dots that you see at the end of the menu, and the user can just uncheck any options that they don't want to use or see, or move the option, in fact, into the More sub-menu. And once the choice has been made, it can be saved, and the menu is then redrawn. And these options can be restated at any time, and this doesn't stop the users searching for information or being alerted to tasks, as this is not about their rights to see and use the information. A user can navigate to another screen, and here I've come into the company summary screen, and here you can see that there are some of the options wrapped onto a second line, and so I can now see the ellipses. And what I can do here is I can edit the display of the tabs so that the screen, in fact here, is more suitably presented in the way in which the user works. So I've removed the wrapping of the lines. And the user can also remove the coaching captions for the screens by either minimizing them or by clicking the little X to turn them off. And this has removed the coaching captions. Now, if I look at the menu, you can see in a moment how the user can turn the coaching captions back on into the preferences screen. So what they'll need to be able to do is also here make sure that the information in the dashboard that they're looking at is correct for the way in which they want to work. So a user can choose from a selection of dashboards that have been assigned to them by the system administrator, or they can make their own. Here you can see that I've switched over to a different dashboard, and dashboards allow the user to create workspaces that are customized around the way in which they work. And that's all that I'm going to say about this at this point, because there's actually a series of lessons that cover the dashboard and the gadgets that can be used within the dashboards in a bit more detail elsewhere within the e-learning system. Here you can see that I've clicked on the Preferences tab, and this is where a user can control much of their own experience of the system. Many of the options here that are controlled are going to be discussed by other lessons. For example, the ability to select a default email address or template, but here I'm only going to look at a few of these. For example, I can set the screen that the user logs onto away from the system default of the dashboard to the opportunity list, for example, and the default screen for the company to be the company dashboard rather than the summary screen. And here you can see I can also change on this screen options like the time and date settings as well. Let me just save that. And if we log off, you can see that I can now log on again, and the landing page has changed, and we've landed into the dashboard. And if I now switch over by clicking on one of the companies, we've arrived not onto the summary screen, but onto the company dashboard. In other lessons, I'm going to be looking at how other settings under the user's control can change their experience of the system substantially and empower users without so that the system works in the way that they want to work, while still enforcing your organization's standards and business rules.